This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Wednesday, January the 6th, race number 9 at Gulfstream Park. Let's throw up the field for this entry-level optional claimer going a one-turn mile. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. It's an interesting group, Mike. The 4 Sugnon is your 5-2 morning line favorite, coming off a couple of runner-up efforts to begin his form cycle, but I think you might have a couple of dirtied up horses on the outside.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how the betting all shakes out, Dan. I don't know how much I really agree with this morning line, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Our friends at Timeform US don't believe this pace will be run at breakneck speed. It's a blue bar scenario favoring horses on or near the early lead, and a char for Todd Pletcher adding blinkers and stretching out might be the lone pace setter.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see how the race is run as well, Dan. Char's a real question mark in this race because based off of his debut, which he won at Belmont back in 2019 as a 2-year-old, he looked really good that day. His 3 starts since then, not so good.
The number 1 is Looking at Roses, 4-1 on the morning line for John Velasquez. Now, as you see, Looking at Roses expected to come from mid-pack. He doesn't have a ton of early speed. Let's watch his most recent race. He was 47-1 in the Claiming Crown Rapid Transit. He's on the outside right now, and he's going to finish okay to be third with a career best 88 buyer. Now, even though these fractions were not color-coded red by Timeform US, it just felt that this race had sort of a pace collapse.
It was a bit of a closer's race. You're right about that. I thought this horse ran fine, all things considered, in this race, Dan. He never looked like he was going to win, but he ran fine in that race. I thought he was turning back out of a pair of wins going longer. I can see the added furlong of this race working to his advantage. I just wonder if he's good enough.
Don Bourbon, the number 2, put up a couple of good efforts to kick off this form cycle, including a win at a mile at Ellis Park. The last 2 races have not been great. Last time out at Churchill Downs, he was part of the pace. First time blinkers, he briefly cleared to the lead on the second turn, and he tired willingly. But the winner of that race is a fairly promising horse. Idol came back to run second in the San Antonio with a 97 buyer. So perhaps some hidden class relief and a bit of tactical speed.
I mean, yeah, he did face a very good horse last time. He was no match in that spot. I didn't necessarily love his race prior to that either, Dan, at Keeneland. I know it says shuffled 5/16. I guess that's technically true. I just didn't really feel like he had any run at that point. And when you watch his stretch run of that race, I don't know. It didn't really feel to me like the getting shuffled back a little bit cost him at all in that spot. I don't know. I think he's a contender in here. I can't find the one race of his that I really like.
Now, a horse that's really going to need some help from a pace standpoint, if Timeform US is right, he could really be in trouble, is the number 3, Mr. Candy Ride, 15-1 on the morning line. This horse just has no early speed whatsoever. At least the win came going a one-turn mile at Gulfstream Park, though that was a race with a lot of pace.
Yeah, his first 2 career starts were good, and he's another one since then. He's really struggled against the better horses since he got out of the maiden ranks, and it just feels like this race isn't going to set up that great for him.
Down from Kentucky, 3rd start of the form cycle, is your morning line favorite, the number 4 Sugnon, who just missed last time out at Churchill going a one-turn mile. And the 4th place finisher of that race came back to run second with an 88 buyer speed figure down at the fairground. So from a speed figure standpoint, this horse fits. He has tactical speed. He's a logical contender.
He is. I just like the way that he's sort of taken steps forward, but just about every race of his career. And, since the maiden win, New York traffic, Gouverneur Morris after that, a long layoff, Nashville off the layoff sprinting. He ran fine last time. I think that horse that beat him, Let Me Know, is actually a pretty good horse, and this horse was a good second to him.
A char, the number 5, could very well be the key to the race because, as you saw on the Timeform US pace projector, he's expected to make the lead, and they may not be going very fast. It's also his second start off a very long layoff for Todd Pletcher, and he probably needed his last out. I mean, he was bet as the favorite that day. He was facing some hard-hitting older horses. I mean, Life in Shambles is close to $1 million in earnings and came back from that race to earn an 81 buyer, albeit for a $25,000 tag.
Yeah, listen, I'm trying not to be too hard on him. He did not run well off the layoff last time, chasing the horse that wired the field in there, could never get to him. And he just didn't have any finish at all on the wrong lead in that spot. So I was disappointed, Dan. Again, I really liked his debut. I felt like this was a horse who was cut out to be pretty good for Shadwell. And I don't know what happened. He has not run a good race since then. I don't want to give up on him yet, but he's running out of time.
Target Tails, the number 6, is 20-1 on the morning line. A maiden winner by open lengths against New Jersey breds, and then first start against Open Company, sort of an even finish. The fourth place finisher came back to run second for a $35,000 tag with an 86 buyer. I can see this horse improving a little bit. For me, it's sort of underneath, maybe at a big price.
Yeah, if he's a big price, I can see trying to get him in there somewhere. I don't know if he can beat this field, but I can see him taking a step forward in here. That was a good field he faced last time in this condition. That War Stopper looks like he has some real potential. That horse had won a big race in New York when he broke his maiden. He ran really well that day, first time for Pletcher. I think that was a good field he was in last time.
Let's watch Palace Cou's most recent start. This was up at Woodbine on November the 20th, and it was a two-turn race. He was able to get right to the front, controlled moderate fractions, sprints on home, career best 75 buyer speed figure. He was in for the 40 this day. Really the question for him is, can he handle dirt? And he showed at least he could handle wet dirt at the fairgrounds last year. Plus, with his running style, he probably can work out a good trip under Junior Alvarado.
Yeah, I mean, if the pace projector is right, I guess he's a horse you want to take at least a second look at because all of his good races are when he's able to be up there and be part of the pace. I think if they go faster in here, he's way up against it. But if the pace is slow, I guess he's a contender.
Now, the two horses on the outside might be those dirtied up horses that I alluded to in the open. Let's start with the 8 Superfecto, who made his career debut against Dr. Post, who was one of the better 3-year-olds in the country last year, and then was able to get to a nice, easy lead in his second lifetime start, winning with a very competitive 82 buyer speed figure. Then he was away, and in his return race, he caught a sloppy track, and cost basis is an okay horse who came back to run third with an 85 buyer. I think you can take that last race with several grains of salt.
That's probably true. This horse was a tough call for me, Dan, because while he did face, I guess, an okay horse in his debut, he really didn't do any running. And, you know, he's only got the one start for me that I think you could consider him off of in a race like this. And that was, you know, that second career start where he just got absolutely loose on the lead. I thought that was a tough race to evaluate because I'm just not sure how well he actually ran. But I guess, you know, if it's a real race and he's going to show speed again in this spot, 8-1 is not too bad.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the race. You're going with the outside horse, the 9 Summer Kid, with similar form to the 8 Superfecto. In that 2 back, they were maiden winners at Gulfstream Park, and last time out, first start against winners, they were beaten, well beaten. Although Summer Kid's big race 2 back came with an 86 buyer, and look who he was in against last time out. Happy Saver, just a tough spot first time against winners.
Yeah, I don't know that you're going to get the 5-1 morning line on this horse. I'm hoping that you do because I want to bet this horse. I thought his debut was actually really good. I thought he worked really hard chasing in that race over a mile and did not run poorly at all. I loved his maiden win at a 1-turn mile. The Saratoga race, I don't really know what to say about it, Dan. He didn't break well. He was a handful for Tyler Gaffalione to ride. He would not settle. He pulled and pulled, and then he just finally gave it up around the turn, and Gaffalione really didn't ask him for anything. So the margin of defeat there is exaggerated by quite a bit, I think. I think this horse is actually good, and I really like him in this race.
Happy Saver, of course, came back to win the Tessio, then the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup. Now, we haven't seen Summer Kid in 5 months. The layoff is always a concern, but look at those workouts over the very deep Gulfstream Park West track. Very fast works. I have a feeling Summer Kid's going to be on his toes leaving the gate, and he can be close to this moderate pace. Don Bourbon, to me, not a superstar. I think works out a pretty good trip. I think the last distance was a little bit too far for him in against a good horse. I agree with you that I couldn't find the excuse 2 starts back, but he has races, and I think he'll be a fair price on the tote. Mike's going 9-5-4-2. I'm going 2-4-1-6. It's your Wednesday DRF race of the day. The 9th at Gulfstream has an approximate post of 4:42 Eastern. Good luck.